like a scrim, that kind of thing. But still working as a team and communicating and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then
They're
we
just lying
obviously
out.
roster change. We have a new main support.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Then I mean, have nothing, not much to say about this. Have you done some VOD use in the time I wasn't here on your own?
Yeah, we started doing
Post
after
scrim
scrim
VOD.
conversations. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Those are because it's like when everything's fresh, but also like
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. It just fits in the way we. Because like it's also like yeah. Because during scrims we would have a lot of things that were like, if we don't know what's not working and stuff, it's always better to go over it in a VOD because you have an overview, and you're not heated during like you're not in the moment because of the game.
Mhm.
And if we wait too long, it's hard to get people together. So I don't know. I feel after scrim VOD reviews have been pretty nice.
And how
If people need to leave, we just recorded.
how did it went? Like what was the topic of it? What have we talked about? How long especially were they?
Typically, I mean, they ran pretty long sometimes, but typically it was more just like all of us speaking our mind on certain, like we kind of would go back through the game and reference certain times where we thought certain things and run it by our teammates and see like what they thought in those scenarios and like what works and what doesn't. The coach would typically help us with that for a bit, but we were focused on so much macro for the last little bit that we kind of decided and told the coaches we'd like to work a bit more on micro now, start calling each other out on, or like not calling each other out, sorry, have the coaches call us on like mistakes we're making too so that we can better ourselves individually as
Okay.
well as working as a team.
I'll also say that like it also helped consolidate the coaches' opinions and stuff because maybe it's just me, but I find at least the ones that we've had during scrims, they don't seem to like they have a lot more to say in a calm / more timely environment. During scrims, it's been pretty much hit or miss sometimes. So like the post VOD review gives a time for them to consolidate what their concerns and thoughts were, and like they might, and it also helps them like not feel that they need to say everything at once, which was the case for like I think it was the case for Hype, where he had a lot to say, but because it was scrims, he couldn't really say it. So
Yeah.
but like having the post VOD, he didn't feel as like stressed to have to like explain everything. So he just like focused on the
I mean,
like the little things that could help
yeah.
during scrims
I mean,
and keep things stable.
yeah. Like in my mind, like a good coach, I don't think you will ever explain anything in the scrum. Like that's just it's the scrum is for playing, not for theory. It's mostly just making sure that the players focus on the goal that they want to achieve in the scrum. But I would never like go over some new topics or whatever, or like start something up, because like I said, it's just not the time for it. And also like nobody would implement it in the next game anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Then it seems like you worked really well together, had like a lot of goals, also achieved all most of them. Have a really good understanding of where you're at right now. So I mean, then obviously, I want to help you. I in the past kind of tried to give you some structure, or like forced you guys to make a little bit of a structure on your own. But it looks like you found a way that fits for your team. So even though obviously I have also like different opinions when it comes to like only post game review and stuff like this, I don't like, especially so close before the tournament, I don't want to destroy anything or will like mention anything in this regards. So in this case, I would just kind of ask the question like, how can I help you today? Like, what can I help you with? What do you guys think you want to go over? Where you want maybe my opinion? Is there anything that comes to your mind for today's session?
Not sure.
I don't know. This is my first actual day signed at the team, but I can tell you one thing we struggled with yesterday is the ball diva comp. I think we need to like brush over the fundamentals of that
Okay.
and just the fundamentals of comps on different points and what we should be running and how to position in those comps.
Okay. So multiple comps, not only this one. You have OD this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I guess it's like in 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 scrim blocks you have a tournament match. Then a question I hopefully already answers. What will you play? Like, what are the compositions that you mostly run?
I think we already have our thing. We so 6 months is niche on the maps that work well for it, which like disengage a little bit sooner, but and at like around the same area, that's fine. Double shield, we run them on double shield on like Rit 66 and stuff like that on defense. So like we're like I think the only one that like I guess Havana is an exception, but like that's not thing like we kind of opted a little more for a brawly style of double shield on Havana more. It just seems more consistent for us and against what the enemies are running. And brawl here and there for the what's it called? King's Row maps. So like I think honestly after that like team / talking exercise and stuff, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm pretty confident in all of us to pick it up in the sense where like we might not. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel that we have enough time,
yeah,
and
like
it's okay to have it in our repertoire. Is my point.
okay, like I just wanted to ask the simple question of do you know basically on which maps you want to play what? Like composition wise. I'm not talking about like do we play Echo or Hanzo there, but is it generally speaking
Yes. We have a good idea. The only thing is the reason why we brought up the ball comp is because it kind of fills in the hole where it's a little awkward to run the other stable 3, if you will, especially into like
Okay.
At least that's what I think. I don't know about the rest of us, but I feel like the ball comp just fills in a hole that we kind of needed.
Do you ever agree that we like are you everybody for your own know like hey we will play this comp there, we will feel confident and stuff like this?
Yeah, Bleach actually wrote out a huge comps we can reference to for we haven't fully done the schedule. There's a spreadsheet that Kessa made for in the schedule channel that we need to fill out for map specific, but all the comps that we could potentially run have been written out in strats.
Do your
So we can
microphone
kind of
picks up
reference that.
a lot?
Oh, that's due.
Yeah, do it. Like you can you mute yourself
I'll
too
mute
when
myself.
you don't talk?
Yeah, my bad.
Okay.
I'm cooking a bit. My bad.
All good.
Okay, so basically there's you already have this in mind. This is like no, you don't need any direction of this. Okay, perfect. Then obviously like it's important. It's the most important thing because Bleach mentioned like okay, want to walk on the ball diva thing. Like in which situations do we act what, act how? So obviously my first thought went into the direction. Okay, like do we know already where we're playing it? Because it would be not good if we now talk about situations where we actually just play brawl. That's why I was going this direction. But it looks like that you already covered this. So then yeah, if nobody else wants to bring up a topic, then how about we go over this? And Bleach, do you have anything more specific? Maybe like even an example from a scrum where we can take and maybe talk from there a little bit more general, or like.
So I think we have issue of knowing when to engage. Like we try to force point a lot, and I think that we're not trying to peel as much as we should be. Like it's a weird comp to play. So I think that just going over the fundamentals of how we should be positioning, if that makes sense. Like using the diva as just a peel bot and having the ball and the tracer run around and what angles we should be looking for and when we should engage and how we should kite and
Okay.
the tempo that is lacking really hard, and I think it's because it's a weird comp to run.
Do you have a scrum where you play this composition so I can take it as a little bit of a background?
Yeah,
Do we have
me find one.
Gibraltar or not Gibraltar?
Think-
Nimbani.
yeah. Let me look at this really quick. I'll try to find it.
I have the code, I think.
Okay.
Here. I'm gonna give you the code though, because I don't know how to do the thing.
Sure. Like if not, I also have the screenshots from the WOT codes, if they are there.
I sent you the code, Bleach, if you want to stream it.
Okay.
No, like just send me the code so I can scream it.
Okay, here.
The other part about this I'd like you to realize is that yesterday we were playing Brig and Zen, but me and River decided that I will be on Brig and he'll be on Zen.
Traveling to Numbani.
Just makes it easier to swap mid-match if we need.
Yeah. This obviously makes sense. Alright. Starts immediately. So get back into okay. So yeah, then let's kind of talk about like kind of this 3 points here, and we can also look at some examples later on how we do it. Okay. Then yeah, I guess let's maybe start with the third point at the start of a little more of a fundamental. Like obviously, again, like the goal of all of this is not that we play like perfectly this combo or whatever. It's more about like that we like that all 6 players have the same idea of how we want to accomplish, like how we want to win with this composition, right? So it's like way more important than playing it correctly, or if there's even correctly. So yeah, then also like with this in your mind, I will just ask you, like obviously you're it's the most important that you know how to play it and that all of you have the same idea. So how do you play this composition? Or basically maybe ask it differently, like how do you get kills with this? Like how do you win fights with this composition? So, yeah. Anybody wants to try to put in the words?
I am not exactly sure what happened in this map because I'm not actually in this. This is probably from their second scrim block. So
yeah, like I'm not obviously I'm not talking about like this map or stuff like this. You know, I'm also not like I don't care what they play. I just care really mostly about like, hey, we're picking a composition like this. I don't care if it's Echo or an Ash or whatever. As long as the playstyle is really similar. Or I mean it's the same. So that's why I was asking the more really general idea of like how does composition work in your mind.
We rotate our core to try to get concaves on the enemy team, and when they engage, we peel.
So you mean like core angle? I'm just literally writing down what you say. Take angles and peel versus dive. Okay. Anybody else wants to ship in, or like also do you have any like is this the only way you kill people? Is this anything else that you feel like is necessary to talk about, to mention when it comes to this composition?
I think the 2 players that should really be trying to capitalize like with each other are the ball and the tracer. They should be driving like and diving together consistently, playing for disruption and off angles and trying to get picks. And we kind of just in this comp, I feel like we kind of play not second, but we kind of like bait them, if that makes sense. So we engage when they're engaging.
Okay.
Play the carrot game.
I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Go ahead.
I'll save it for later. Because we're
I
talking
mean-
about a different thing right now. I'll save it for later.
Okay. You're a little bit quiet for me. I don't know if it's just for me or let me put you up. Okay, I mean, sure. Then should I save it for later then, I guess. Yeah, immediately like if you just like like you know all of you write down like there are kind of 2 different ideas kind of just come into my mind right now. Like we have here ones that you say like, hey, ball tracer dive. I'm like the way you explain it, I imagine like ball tracer dive like as a backline more likely and not a tank. And then there's like peel and obviously angles. And from a general concept, obviously this is like different, right? Like I guess we can agree that this is obviously like way faster than like taking angles and poking and appealing and so on, right? So any comments about this from you guys?
From the ball tracer.
No, just generally speaking, like, do you feel like I'm correct, or do you? I don't know, like, what would you say to this?
Yeah, I
Like,
feel like the ball and tracer would want to go a little quicker than the peeling and taking angles, but at the same time, I feel like the not really, because we can both like the ball and tracer can slow down to basically go engage second because that's kind of their job. I
okay,
don't know. I feel like that's right.
I feel like it depends on the comp.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
I feel like when we're forced to peel more in this comp, we have to play a little bit slower, and we have to play for them to make a mistake. So we're trying to capitalize on their mistake. We have two very, very, very mobile heroes, and we have a core that peels on top of itself, and we have to give space based on that.
Mhm.
So our very mobile players have to rotate based on where our core is, and that's very dependent on what they're on. So like if they're on Monkey Diva, we should obviously be playing more peel. If they're on Rush, then we could play far back with like Brig Zen, or we could swap the Brig for a Mercy and just play super far back and have the rest of our team trying to get angles in the brawl.
Okay. Sounds right for me. Okay, great. Then let me maybe just write it or like say it in some different words. I feel like you mostly, in my opinion, said the correct things. So how I think about this, like maybe also like because we have obviously some new guys here like who don't know how I think about stuff. So kind of, I always kind of like to put Overwatch strategies in kind of three different balls. You know, we have sprawl strategies, we have spam strategies, and we have dive strategies. I guess all of us have an idea what is behind this, right? So if I look and from this composition, obviously, if I look at the characters, but also mostly, to be honest, from experience and and how this kind of composition works and how the win conditions and so on, I would say this is a hybrid composition between a dive and a spam composition or spam strategy. Maybe quick question, like why do we even like have things like hybrid compositions instead of like full spam or full brawl or full dive? Like what is the main advantage of having a hybrid composition compared to
can
like a
adapt.
full brawl strategy like the Rhine brawl?
Versatility.
Yeah, exactly.
It's yeah,
Yeah, you're more
adaptable.
Adapt and
exactly.
stuff.
You're more flexible. You're more flexible depending on situation. But the thing is, obviously, like big question. Yeah, it's a nice phrase to say, right? But how does it actually help you to get kills? How does it help you in the game? And you need to realize that this is difficult to execute because flexibility basically means that depending on how the situation is, you will always, or you have the option to always choose the best strategy for the situation. You know, like if they, I don't know, like they're all 1 HP or something like this, I mean, of course, then they most likely will use a dive strategy, going in aggressively, capitalizing on our advantage we have, getting kills. Like this is, like, I mean, whatever they have here, right? So, I mean, maybe in a different strategy, a different situation, you already mentioned, you know, if they're playing like more rushy and more brawly and stuff like this, we maybe don't want to play as fast, dive in as quickly. We want to play more for, I don't know, our range, our angles or whatever, and then choose this different kind of strategy to kind of win the games. So there are two really different, like, yeah, there are, no, yes, there are two really different win conditions in a hybrid compositions, and it is not easy, and this is also where a lot of teams struggle with, not easy to coordinate between all 6 players on all the time which kind of strategy do we want to execute. You're not even talking about like how we execute it, but just that we're on the same page, that our ball tracer knows, hey, we are playing on the spam strategy right now, and then we have like this and this and this jobs to do, you know, or like we know like, hey, right now our Echo, Sen, Diva, whatever, we know, okay, like we right now want to like dive somebody and like go play on this dive strategy, and then we have like this and this and this job. That's kind of really difficult to do, and this is kind of, but also this kind of gives you the edge over sometimes, especially obviously completely map depending and situation depending against like other compositions. Obviously, if it's a really good, I don't know, brawl map, then it doesn't matter like how much you dance around with this stuff. Brawl is just like really strong on some point and will like overrun you. Let's say like this, if you play against a full spam composition and you play your dive spam hybrid composition, you will most likely in like 80% or like maybe 90% not play your own, like not play for the win condition of the spam strategy, because you're playing against another full spam strategy. Like, why do you want to play, you know, like you have not as much spam as a double shield with 2 snipers. Like this is just not, or like, you know, you don't, this is not kind of your, you will lose this game, basically. That's what I want to say. So that's why you need to adapt. And sometimes the adaptation is just not good enough. So maybe you also, maybe the composition is not good. But I guess all of you kind of notice. So yeah. And especially like Bleach, what you meant, you know, or like what I kind of tried to point out with this, like, hey, here there was a situation where they said like, hey, we want to peel, and the ball tracer there's like a dive. And in my experience, I think how you win games in Overwatch, like the Overwatch is obviously, you know, like it's really team based, and from my experience, it is so much more important that 6 players follow the same plan and have the same thing in their head, like, you know, like want to execute the same strategies, than making always the correct thing. What I'm saying with this is, if we want to peel, I would like, or I feel, generally speaking, that's way better that all 6 of us peel. Obviously, the tracer will not, like, the tracer cannot just, I don't know, attack the monkey. I mean, who cares? The monkey doesn't care about tracer's damage. But maybe the tracer can, in this time, I don't know, let's just say this is a tracer, peel against enemy tracer, you know, make sure that the tracer is not doing much. Because she gets attacked, and is more significant. So that's what I mean. Like, I feel like it's really important that we always on the same page on what we do. Any questions about this? Everybody agrees with this statement?
Can you peel by harassing their backline while they're engaging on you, or is it safer to just peel for your own team in this comp?
I mean, yeah, we can talk about like how to do it in a second. But generally speaking, the idea is just like, sure, like, again, like if you feel like this helps, like the idea is just like, obviously if we kind of peel, or if we're playing this slower version or whatever, and we as a team now decide, okay, like we're playing a strategy where we win the fight through angles and surviving, so we are not going for like hard dives, we're going for surviving. So if the tracer now thinks, hey, it's better for me, like I can help my Sen to survive better if I attack the Ana, because if I attack the Ana, then the Ana cannot heal the monkey, so the monkey goes out earlier. If the tracer thinks this is the most effective way, then sure, go for it. You know, don't expect to kill the Ana. This will, I mean, 90% not happen if we are looking for like peeling. Other than the Ana is obviously completely out of position. But this is kind of the mindset I want you to be in. Obviously, the same thing with here with the Zenyatta. You know, like if we're playing for a diving strategy, then I don't want that the Zenyatta makes a huge rotation for any high counts or stuff like this to put themselves on an angle. If we're like diving in, then the only thing I care about is that the Zenyatta makes sure, or like tries as best as possible to get a Discord orb on the target we want to dive. If it's like the Ana, the monkey, or like the Ashe. You know, this is obviously the main contribution, or like the main way he can assist in killing somebody quickly. So that's kind of this mindset, and if this is the right way to do it, or this way, you know, like with the tracer example I took before, like is this the best way for us to survive, or is this the best way for us to survive? I mean, you're the tracer player, right? Like you will know it way better. Obviously, there are some generally ideas, like there are some like obviously ideas when it comes to stuff, but does it make sense for you? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Then let's talk about kind of how the execution kind of works. So, do we want to start with modus divey, aggressive? Again, like I also don't care like how you call it. I don't care if we call it dive, fast, engage. Like nobody cares. There's no like wording. I just use my wording with diving and spam. But again, like as long as you're on the same idea, I don't care what you say. I don't care if you say banana and apple, and all of you know it. Okay, sure, you know, use it. Okay, so do we want to play like with the start with the divey or like the spammy option?
What would you do
Okay.
against their comp right now?
Against their comp?
Yeah.
Let's see. They. Oh. Not so sure. Like don't know. I don't think there's like, oh, look at this. There's like this way, and bam, we do it. Like, I guess we can, depending on a little bit on you, to be honest. Like, do we feel like we have an as Tracer that we're playing around, you know? Is just like, do we kind of know that especially like Snipes and Cameron, like their synergy is like really good. So we're tending to be mostly a more aggressive team because we just like, for whatever reason that is our playstyle, then I would obviously say sure, go for it. I don't think there's like I don't see immediately, like obviously against the Reinhardt Brawl comp, I would never say, hey, Brawl Tracer, we will not diving. You know, we will most likely spam a lot at the start and get cooldowns out and then we dive. Like this is a clear answer. But against this thing, I don't see a clear answer. Maybe there is something if you play it like 10, 20 times in scrims and you notice that playing fast is really terrible. But that's what I mean. Like I don't know the best thing, but yeah, I would maybe like go for this divey thing if you feel like this suits your playstyle, your general idea as a composition, and then I guess maybe like Anna obviously is generally speaking good target. I don't know where they positioned. Obviously, we can for scout, look for target, make all the stuff, right? Maybe let's also talk about the dive. Like we all know the dive strategy. Like it's always the same thing. Like it's always this 3 times. Like we always scout first what's the target, then we stage for this target. So basically prepare ourselves to jump on this target in one movement ability, and then we dive. And dive is mostly about the timing. It's way more important that we are there at the same time than dealing more damage to kill somebody, because dive is all about burst damage. And yeah, I went over this like pretty sure last session, so I don't want to go over this. But yeah, like this is kind of always the same thing, right? Like I guess any questions about this? No. Okay. So obviously, like, how do we do it now with this composition here? So if we obviously talking about dive, I just mentioned it, like it's all about bursting somebody down. So who do we play around? I mean, obviously one of the greatest burst heroes here in the composition that we have is obviously a Tracer. Like Tracer can deal a massive amount of burst damage, and it's just a really good dive character. So generally speaking, we want to give our resources, or we want to make sure that if we're playing this dive strategy, that our Tracer can be as effective as possible. So how do we do it? I mean, yeah, how do we do it? Just ask you. Like, I'll just ask you. Like, let's start with the ball. Cameron, what can you do to help the Tracer?
What can I do to help her?
Yeah, what can you do to make sure that the Tracer is the most effective way? Like, can play in her most effective way?
Go in, disrupt, either pile drive to get her to kill, force out cooldowns on me so she can live.
Yeah, exactly. Like, obviously, that's not too complicated. Like we all know it. Like, sure, everything that you said is completely true. You just dive in, get some stuff out there, make sure that there's a Tracer can dive. Obviously, immediately the things about, okay, we need to be coordinated, because especially a dive, ball doesn't have, it's not like a monkey where you dive in and you have a bubble for like, I don't know, depending on how much damage is, maybe like 3 seconds, and then the Tracer has all this time. No, like when you're playing with balls, it's kind of, you have more like kind of spikes of opportunities than with a Winston, where it's maybe like a little bit more like this, but obviously like less likely. So ball and dive, really, really important, good coordination. And obviously when I talk about coordination, I mean talk about communication. So Cameron saying, or like Snipes, I don't know how you want to communicate, but making sure like, hey, I'm going in now, Tracer's ready or not. Because obviously ball diving in, pile driving the Ana, break just armor packs, ball goes out, Tracer comes in, and everybody is ready. It doesn't make sense, right? So, or that it will not help us. Okay, let's continue with the Zenyatta. What's your biggest priority when we're going for this dive strategy? How can you help to make the Tracer most efficient, most effective?
Orb.
Yeah. More words.
Like both of his orbs based on what target they're going on.
So damage orb on target. Anything else?
Healing orb and poke into whatever they're trying to go on.
Yeah, like healing orb on Tracer, I think is for me important. Like the thing is, of course you will keep shooting. It's not like you will just be AFK after you damage orb somebody, but it is not likely that our poke damage will bait out too many cooldowns in this kind of situation. So the most important thing is especially like here the damage orb. Like the healing orb is also nice on Tracer, but mostly Tracer will come from an angle and you maybe don't have the line of sight. It's most important that you have the damage orb on the target because this is obviously the best way you can support our dive. Let's talk about the Echo. How can you help us to burst somebody down the best way, or like maybe Tracer, or like how can you help us to make an effective dive?
First out healing cooldowns.
What do you mean?
So if they
healing
run
cooldowns?
so if they have an Ana, I want to make sure that during the dive, the Ana may or may not have to mistime her nade or not have it at all
Okay, and how can you do it?
by spamming.
Okay, sure, you can spam it, but if you spam her, we're not playing dive, right? Like if you're playing slow and trying to bait out cooldowns first, we can do this if we start, hey, like this is the fight here, and we start with like playing for the spam strategy. And
Okay,
say,
I guess I mean is
and now there is a trigger
pressure.
where they have no ananate, like here, minus ananate, and now we dive. This could be a thing, definitely. But I'm now thinking about, we see them, we dive. We scout, we stage, we dive.
I guess beam in that case.
Yeah, I mean,
Just like follow up on the dive.
exactly, it's like super simple. Like it's really not complicated. Like the idea of the stuff. Like sure, like the house, like obviously like the best way of burst somebody down as Echo is the beam. So like this also means mostly like the important, like this is obviously obvious. Everybody can say this, but the important thing is here, like this means for your position. The same thing also here is, think about your position. You not position yourself in a way of that you want to spam for hours. You position yourself so that you have line of sight on the dive target. You know, the same thing as Echo. You're not, if you want to dive this Ana here, like if we want to dive this Ana here, I'm not making this rotation as Echo because I'm not in a beam range and I will never be. I can never make this rotation. I'm going, I guess. Obviously, again, depends on the situation, but I mostly then maybe like go like this, wait here with my tanks and then go in together. Or like as Zenyatta, obviously you can think about, hey, is it better for me to maybe, I don't know, like be here? Do I have here like best distance, line of sight? Is it useful to go here? Where is it? Is it like too difficult for whatever reason? Maybe are they holding there? Because we're not helping you to get the monkey out. This is not our job, right? Like we are not pushing away the monkey first. I mean, of course we can do it, but in the idea. Or like, do I go here? Like, and I don't have to answer. Like, you need to answer this for yourself. But what's most important here is that our goal right now is to burst somebody down, and we have these three ideas. Like we have, staging, scouting, staging, and diving. And so we make sure that we can, like, you need to position yourself so you can damage up this target when we engage. Doesn't have to be for 20 seconds. It has to be maybe for like 2 to 3 seconds, and then it's fine. And if they go at you, I mean, of course you will try to survive as much as you can. But yeah, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Diva? Glacier, what do you think you can do to help us burst somebody down?
Try to hard commit with the missiles.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Is there also something else maybe that comes in your mind?
DM heals.
Definitely, yeah, okay. Damage and DM, sure. Like basic going aggressive with all the tools that you have, for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody else has maybe like another idea how the diva could help for us to burst somebody down. It's a bit tricky, like it's not so obvious.
Try to knock them off using my thrusters.
Yeah, sure, like obviously situational. I was more thinking about maybe because especially before like Bleach meant this with the peel, right? Maybe, and this is situational, you want to peel for our Sen because like is it like that's the thing, like Diva is Diva is always such a Swiss knife. Like you can do so many things. like you have like all the tools. You're so good at healing. You're so good at also like helping somebody with damage and DMs and stuff like this, denying healing. So is it better for us in this situation to help our Sen to get in a position where you can orb, or do you feel like, hey, the orb is like less valuable than what you can do? Then obviously you kill somebody, or then you go aggressive. Like that's the thing. Like we want to. Our goal is to burst somebody down. Do you as a diva think you will accomplish this with just doing damage on your own, or do you want to maybe help somebody to deal more damage, helping our Sen to be in line of sight for the orb range? Do you want maybe to help the Echo? And I don't know, like we dive on the Ana, but you go on the Ashe, so the Ashe is DM'd, and you can deal more damage because you can stay longer at the Ana. Like things like this, divas, it's not easy to make this decision. I just want to mention to you, like mostly it will be this, I guess, but you have these options. The main thing which is important for me is our goal is still to kill somebody quickly. This should always be the main priority. And if you feel like you can do this with damage or with helping somebody killing quickly, it's fine. Somebody wanted to say something?
Yeah, you could poke with rockets, slowly poke, and if they make a jump onto your supports, you need to be in a position to immediately peel.
Yeah.
That's why Diva's strong right now.
Sure.
If
Sorry.
I feel like in this specific meta, Diva plays second to everything. Like she stages in a place where she can reach everything. Does that make sense? Like with her boosters. Like as soon as she used her boosters and she split from her supports can die immediately.
Yeah. The thing is, you again like think in this way of like, hey, we want to poke out first something and then we dive. Boosting with rockets and stuff like this. Of course we can do this, but it just depends on the situation. To maybe like also finish this topic up here a little bit faster. Sorry, like for our break, I will just kind of just say it. Obviously, the break. I mean, these are mostly obvious things, right? Like we want to like pack the tracer, especially, and the echo. These are the most main targets.
Yep.
It's not so much about like, of course, yeah, sure. Like you will mostly be there to help our Sen be in a position where you can like here to orb somebody. You will not dive there. I mean, you cannot reach the enemy backline, right? So, but that's the main thing. Okay, let's, because I took a look at the time. It's already so much. If you notice, let's talk about spam. So how do we kill somebody with? I will just mostly say a little bit. If you have anything, please interrupt me. So how do you get a kill with spam? It always follows the same thing, that you first need to have map control. With map control, you can take angles. With angles, you're allowed. You will force cooldowns quicker than only with one angle, and then if you have no more cooldowns, you will make kills. This is the idea of spamming. Obviously, it's way slower. The most important thing about spamming is to keep angles. I will not explain so much why, because, like I said, of the time. So, who is the most effective character in this composition on playing on angles? I mean, I guess we can all agree it's a Sen, right? So, how can we make sure that the Sen always has like a different angle to what's maybe another character that can be really aggressive or really good from long range? I guess it's the Echo. So how can we make sure that these two characters have enough support that they're allowed to have kind of shoot people from different areas? This is the main question we need to answer ourselves. And obviously that means like the Sen kind of directs a little bit where he wants to go. Like if the Sen says this high ground is good for him, then we need to help make sure that he's safe at this high ground. Like here it's different. Like here it all depends on like where's the enemy target, where do we want to dive it, like let's be scouted first, then we make it like sure, okay, like how can we get there effectively. It's this staging process. Chaser just say, hey, okay, like go left side, okay, I will prepare here, okay, let's go ready. Like nobody really cares so much about the Sen. Here we care about the Sen. Like here the Sen is our main tool to win the fight. So the Sen is also like can give way more like direction of where he wants to play. Obviously, why the Sen, not the Echo? Because the Echo is just way more mobile, so Echo has more options to take angles. And yeah, like same thing. Like, what is the ball? Or like maybe let's start with the backline first because it's easier. Obviously, what does Break want to do? Like, Break main job is protect Zhang. Like, obviously here it's the same, but here it's like it's the main. Like everything you do is about the Sen. Sure, you can also give armor packs to Echo and Tracer here and there, but break. You need to protect the Zen. You're the kind of the main shield for the Zen. This D.Va the same thing. Like D.Va, here I talked about mostly you will go for like maybe like aggressive plays on your own. In my opinion, in my experience, when you play about spamming, it's all about protecting characters. I'm not always talking Zen, but I'm talking the Zen plus Echo because you're so mobile. You can do both. Obviously, depends extremely on what they're doing, like on what composition, on what map. Do you protect the Echo with going aggressive on the Ash? Do you protect the Zen with playing the whole time next to him? I don't know. Obviously, in the past, we saw a lot of time the Sigma here, where obviously Sigma is a way more defensive character, so most of the teams went more for this strategies. Now that we have a D.Va, D.Va has more offensive opportunities, so I'm mostly imagining that you're playing more in this direction. But yeah. What else? Obviously, the Echo takes a different angle. So obviously here also, when we talk about taking angles and keeping angles, we will see way more Echo versus Echo fights, Tracer versus Tracer, because it's more like, it's not about like killing somebody quickly, it's about like keeping control of the space, because more angles means forcing out cooldowns faster, means we get kills or we can push point, pressure point, so they have to come to us, they have no cooldowns, they die. So here, especially like angles, and in this case, in this scenario, this matchup, I would imagine I will mostly see you here on the Echo duel. I assume. What else? D.Va break. We had Zen. I mean, Zen obviously like here, like also like Tracer, obviously, like setting up. Yeah.
I was gonna say ball.
Yeah.
Ball is weird to play with spam, so I'd like to go over that.
Yeah, for sure. We go over all of them. I just Zen. Obviously here, the same thing with the angles. Just want to write it down. And same thing as the orb, I guess Echo or Tracer. And why is it important? Because you help the Echo to win these duels. That's important. That's what I wanted to mention. Like here you go on the, like here it's all about like diving whoever, like we want to dive. I don't care. We can also dive a monkey if he's out of position or he has no jump. Like doesn't really matter. But here it's really about like, hey, we support our players to hold angles and so on. So now obviously this is more like the obvious parts. Now let's go a little bit more on the not so obvious. I guess it's a Tracer. Tracer, same thing as a little bit of the Echo. It's not about Tracer having our Tracer to kill an Ana or something like this. It's more about we make sure that we keep these lanes, we keep control of the angles. And how can Tracer do this? I mean, Tracer just basically like helps wherever she can on accomplishing this goal. I don't know if this like, maybe if you play against a Ryan composition, like a Ryan brawl, nobody has, like the Ryan brawl has zero pressure against our Zen. Like what do they want to do? Like imagine like there's a Ryan brawl here. Like I don't want to, no, I can delete all of this. Like there's a Ryan brawl here on the point. Let's just imagine all 6 and our Zen stays there. I mean this, okay, then Tracer doesn't have to be here. Like nobody cares. Like the Zen is so safe. Like there's a D.Va maybe in a break with him. So the Tracer can just do this and I don't know, blink around here and open another angle, Like it's not about like killing them quickly, it's about angles, map control. So if there's no threat for anybody and everybody can do their job, then you just take another angle yourself. But you mostly want to help to control things. And again, like there we come back to this, like, hey, we peel. Like obviously here we counter dive, we peel most of the time. Like if they are, let's imagine they have a Tracer. If their Tracer goes in, we want to peel for this Tracer. You go into enemy Tracer so she cannot deal as much damage, and so on. So now obviously the same thing with the ball, the same idea. If there is literally no pressure on your Zen, I mean, sure, you can just disrupt on yourself. I would not imagine that, like against Ryan Ball, I would not pile drive as much because, I mean, does it really matter if your Ryan's, like imagine this is a Reinhardt and your Zen shoots at him, and Ryan makes this. I mean, who cares? Like, it's not so much damage if you just like boop them up and down. And obviously the risks of you getting stunned and maybe even frozen if they may, or hacked or whatever, is very high, but the outcome of a slam is not so much. So what I would do way more is if they have like, if you're playing like this spammy, like you give opportunities for our spam characters. And how can you do it? You boop people like maybe a Baptiste away from the shield. So I would go way more here for boot plays, like trying to roll through, doing like things like this. Maybe even also like the same thing as a tracer, take another angle and just shoot them from behind. Obviously, you're not doing much damage, but as long as maybe a McCree or like a brick looks at you, they don't look at our Sen, at our Echo. Things achieved. And obviously, if they have something more aggressive, like if there is actually some pressure on our Sen, then how can you help to keep our Sen alive? As a Winston, I would just say counter dive, because you just dive our Sen, you bubble him, you help him. As a ball, it's obviously more difficult. Do you feel like you can boop these characters away and help our Sen with this? Then I guess sure, go for it if you feel confident in this. Do you feel like, hey, my best job to help our Sen is, I don't know, attacking this Ash? Like, I don't know, like, or do you feel like maybe also like, the same thing example I took, like maybe the best way of you actually helping our Sen to survive is to counter dive this Echo, this Anna, what at the very start what Bleach mentioned with he said that our ball tracer always goes second, that's what you mentioned. This can for sure be an answer if you feel like this is the best way of helping our Sen to survive, because we want to play slow, so our ball tracer like attack the Anna so that the monkey doesn't get as much healing and he has to go back way quicker, so our Sen survives like more. The thing is, like, I want to show you that it's like really a lot of variety in like how we can actually do things, and to maybe like summarize this again a little bit, and I don't really mind so much, or like from my experience also, because especially like you are way better players than I am. You know way better like how you can handle situations as your character. You just need to have the right direction of what I want to do. Like, so that's why I have this like clear cut here, and that's what I mean with this coordination. Do we play to survive? Then we do the actions that help us to survive. Do we play to burst? Then maybe we even let our Sen die at some point, because at the end of the day, die is to burst somebody. So we kind of trade. Like, think about, remember the metas of like dive versus dive, like Anna Lucio dive against, like with Sombra Tracer, Monkey Winston, and the mirror. Like all the time the Anna died, because a dive composition, like the dive strategy, is way better at healing somebody than keeping somebody alive. So the main objective is to kill somebody in the backline. So most of the time what happened is that the kind of backline traded. In the spam strategy, obviously spamming is way more about controlling, keeping angles, and surviving. So there we see a lot of counter dives. Like, think about a double sniper meta. Like, everybody was counter diving most of the time, because the main goal was to help our sniper survive. Yeah. Any questions about this?
Nope, I do not think so.
Okay, great. Then let's actually. Oh wait, I can also like just screenshot it for you again, so you get this. I hope, like, we had. I'm not so sure. Like, I should have screenshot over for myself. We had kind of 3 questions at the start, right? Like, this was like fundamentals and positioning. There were some 2 other things. Do you guys know
I
what
think
it was?
the when to engage, like the tempo.
Okay, tempo.
I think for the most part though in this comp, I think we start spam and then rotate the dive as the fight evolves.
Yeah, this is a like good point. This is what I want also to mention, because like, imagine this is the fight, like the time of a fight. This do we dive or spam or like, I don't know if you call it fast or slow. Like, I don't give a shit. Again, depends on the situation. It doesn't mean that, hey, next fight we do this, next fight then we do this. No. Like, we have this hybrid composition, we can react in situations, and this is also what we should use. So let's imagine, I give you some scenarios where it can adapt to. Let's just imagine we, for whatever reason, because of the composition, because of the map, because of how we like to play, start slow. We have an opportunity, which is, I don't know, Anna is 1 HP. Let's say, the call comes, Anna is 1 HP. And we say, okay, Cameron maybe says, okay, Snipes, I want to dive to Anna. And then Snipes says, yeah, I can. obviously they need to coordinate this because they are most important when it comes to dive. But immediately also for all the other 4, okay, we are kind of changing our modus from spamming to dive. So immediately, for example, I would as a Sen, I would kind of go more defensively. I would make sure that I don't need as many resources to survive. Obviously, main thing is that I discard the Ana. As an Echo, I would go way more aggressive. I would look for going like flying more deeper because I want to look for beam. Glacier can then think about, okay, is it better for me to also go to dive, or maybe is it better for me to just keep our Sen alive so he can discord orb? Obviously, Break immediately took looks at our Echo, because Echo, as I mentioned, needs to go deep with the beam, so immediately needs an armor pack most of the time. Maybe even like the Tracer. So this is kind of the mindset that kind of goes on, you know? So this could be a thing. Then we kind of dive here somebody, maybe we get a kill, and we say, yeah, okay, it's a 5 or 6, but let's just play it slow. We have no more cooldowns, let's play it slow, and then we win when we win. This could be a break. So now we talked about HB as a trigger. Another thing what Dutrop mentioned before was like a nade. Let's say, hey, we again play slow, they have no nade, let's dive in, maybe we kill somebody, or maybe even already kill somebody, and that's like win here already. Okay, like cooldowns can be a trigger. Then another thing that could be is, let's say we have mines and we have pulse bomb as an ultimate. So we say, okay, I mean, we have 2 aggressive ultimates that just like, let's next fight, like this could be a fight plan. Okay, next fight, we just mine at a choke and we look for pulse bomb in the backline. Okay, then immediately this would be for me, like, or in my mind, this would be, everybody should have the same idea of being, okay, we play fast next fight, we want to dive. So I adjust my position to this plan, and we're looking for like this opportunity. We're looking, like making like scouting, staging, diving, going for mines and for pulse bomb, whatever. And let's say we don't get the full kill. Okay, now we just play slow again, or like, hey, no, we just like, we keep going, we keep pressuring, we just keep fighting there because we have the resources. Like, I don't care. I don't know how the situation is, right? Let's say, hey, we mine in there and they beat. Okay, let's play slow. Let's just like wait for the beat. Okay, we want to dive after the beat. Okay, let's go 3, 2, 1. Let's dive again. And we kind of adjust out the position again. So ults. And the last thing I already mentioned a little bit is obviously positioning. Hey, Ana is completely out of position. Okay, let's just dive her. Get a kill on Ana, and win the fight with this. I don't know. Like, these are the 4 main criteria where you cannot change things. And again, like, this could be like this the whole time. Like, obviously spam is slower, so mostly this, but this can be one fight, like, this is kind of, so that's why I mean, like, coordination is important, that you are always on the same page on this stuff. And that you just talk about it, and how this communication sounds like in your team, like I don't care, like, it's really up to you. Like, if Cameron says like, hey, he wants a code word for this so that everybody knows, and he takes banana and he says, okay, let's go banana, then everybody knows, okay, he means really like this fast style, and we do like all the things that I like had in this last picture, right? Like, we have all this objectives for ourselves. This could be a way to do it, or you just have another style of communication, whatever you if you're comfortable. Okay, I also really wanted to go over some of your fights. So, like, any more questions about the theory? If not, I would like to maybe like watch some examples here of how you actually played it, and maybe we can also see what's going on.
No, but I will say we have 2 minutes before a scrim.
Oh, you have a scrim? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Then you maybe can also even play some this composition a little bit today, and see how it goes. Yeah. So maybe let me then go for maybe at least one engagement here. Here's how you want to set this up. Okay, it looks like you're going for more like this spammy approach, peeling. Yeah, sorry, you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I fucked up because I'm still in the process of learning ball. This is like my second game on ball, so.
Yeah, like, this is completely fine. Like, the mechanical things, I'm 100% certain that you will be on a good enough stage when it comes to the tournament. I'm way more interested about the mindset or like decision making. And right here, I'm especially seeing Snipes being a little bit alone. But I like that he kind of also like, you know, like he looks back. Okay, like how can I peel for this? Obviously, I don't know. Like I don't know that. Like I'm not a tracer. Snipes, you're way better tracer than me. I don't know if you feel you can help our Zen best if you attack the Echo here, or if you feel like, hey, I just like pressure here a little bit. Of course, you will never kill somebody here, but at least the D.Va has to stay here, right? The D.Va cannot help and kill our brick. If you think this is better, I guess at the end of the day, just test it out. You know, play a scrim where you play super defensive, super peel heavy, another scrim where you play super offensive, and just see like what you feel like works better. But other than this, I think the approach of like the slow approach here is really, looks really nice. Why? Because we have the Echo here looking for this other angle. We have the Sand from here. Are these the best positions we can take? I have no idea. I have no idea if these are the best or if like this position is better for Sen. Like, I don't know. Like River again, you're the way better Sen, so you have to decide this. If you don't know it, experiment around. Maybe, you know, go here a little bit. Maybe go here. See what is more comfortable for you. How you can get more impact. Maybe also make sure that both of you kind of corner a little bit. Like if Sen takes like this space, or Sen maybe takes this space, maybe then this gives Echo more space? Question mark. I don't know. Just want to give you some ideas, some things to have in your head. But yeah, perfect. Yeah, even get a kill. Great. Like, you know, like again, it's about surviving right now. We survive and we get kills over this. Obviously unfortunate there. It was just a headshot immediately. Not really much to do. Really curious about right now. Okay, this is immediately kind of also something that I would have in mind as a coach. I just like this is kind of eye level focus on is I don't from now seeing this, I don't think this position is good. Why? It's not in position. Like you cannot, our supports cannot peel for the Echo. I don't think Dutrop can, like he cannot play closer. He cannot play more here, and we cannot really go out more to do it, I guess. So maybe we can do this differently, that our Echo plays more from here, question mark. I don't know if this is a thing. But so that we can peel for this. Because again, like we are playing for spamming, for controlling. So we need to make sure that we can support each other. So we need line of sight. And so Dutrop almost dies here because we have no line of sight, right? It's not even possible for us to help each other. This is really important. So yeah. Looks a bit that here, like here we made the decision to go aggressive on a D.Va. We can capitalize this, sure. Obviously, I'm talking here about like in a perfect state of mind would be that we could even coordinate this with our ball. Imagine if we have like a pile drive here on this Ana and at the same time like this to go in, and we have a discord on the Ana. You know, we go into the dive state. Not saying this is always the thing, you know, but obviously Overwatch is really complicated, but this could be a way. But we still go for peeling here, and we also win like this. You know, like again, like there's not one way. Like you don't have to always dive, you don't have to always peel. Like looks like it worked out well for you guys so far. So then I guess yeah, here. Just keep controlling. And here maybe like at the end of the day, our D.Va was down here to kill somebody. Maybe this could just be the trace on the ball more, like so Glacier can look more for this, or like River has to play more defensive. I don't know. But yeah. Okay, you have scrim. So any last questions about the ball tracer thing?
Not really.
Okay, great. Then because the scrim starts now, I would suggest to you guys that you can maybe take this as a scrim goal for today, that you just try to force the ball tracer in as many scenarios as you can, so you get comfortable with this mindset of having these two playstyles and coordinating these ones, because I think this is the most important thing. Not so much what we do individually, more about having this being on the same idea when we do what, like aggressive or defensive, or fast, slow, dive, spam. And I think for this it also doesn't matter too much if we play maybe on maps where we normally don't play it, but obviously it's up to you. Okay, great. Then if there's nothing else to say, we end this here. Good luck in your scrum, and hopefully this was helpful for you.
Thank you.
Thor.
Okay, great.
Thank you, sir.
Then see you guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Peace.